If you are an eBay seller, you're going to want to stay tuned and watch this video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about linked eBay accounts. And if you've never heard that term before, that's something that we're going to get into. We're going to be talking about how your eBay account can be suspended through no fault of your own. How your eBay account can actually be suspended for not things that you did, but things that other sellers completely unrelated to you did. And we're also going to talk about like how you can protect yourself from this, and if this does happen to you, why it happened, and how to get your account back. So I guess we'll kind of kick off this story with telling you guys that my eBay account got suspended yesterday. I'm not really actively selling on eBay much these days. You know, I'm kind of an opportunistic eBay seller. If I happen to see like some clearance going on or something, and there's a couple of one-off items, or if I happen to be hitting like estate sales and I find something interesting, sure, I'll sell it, I'll flip it on eBay. But like, I'm not actively running an eBay business at the moment. So this kind of came as kind of a surprise to me. So I happen to get an email from eBay yesterday, and it says your account has been restricted, and I'm like, what the hell? And so I open up the email, and it says something to the effect of, your account has been suspended because of a link to another account, and it named the other account. And I'd never heard of this account before. I knew nothing about this account. This wasn't an account of like a friend or family member. So it really kind of threw me off. So I wound up calling eBay, but let me just kind of get into like what are linked eBay accounts, why it could cause problems with your account. So eBay does something called linking accounts. Now, linked eBay accounts are when your account shares something in common with another eBay account. It could be a phone number, it could be an IP address. Obviously things like bank account, credit card, those things probably aren't going to happen on accident, or if they do happen, it's going to be your fault, right? That's not going to happen as of a fluke. But things like addresses and IP addresses, that could be something that has nothing to do with you. If in my case, it was, you know, my account had been linked to people that I'd worked with in the past. My account had been linked with friends of mine, a former business partner. So essentially, here's what it is. If you have a roommate, and you and your roommate have both sold on eBay, or not even sold on eBay, if you and your roommate have both logged into eBay from your apartment or your house, your eBay accounts are linked together. If at your workplace there is a shared IP address or a shared computer, and you log into your eBay account one day to check on your sales, and one of your coworkers logs into eBay one day to check on their sales or to buy something, your accounts are linked together. If you move into an apartment and the previous resident of that apartment was an eBay seller, and you both had the same address on your account, your eBay accounts are now linked together. So you can imagine all the different scenarios of how this happens, but a lot of like completely innocent things can happen where your account is linked to somebody completely unrelated to you, somebody that you have nothing to do with, and somebody that you don't know. Now, in fairness to eBay, in terms of like why they do this, a lot of people use stealth accounts. I don't know if you guys haven't heard of what a stealth account is. Essentially, when somebody gets banned from eBay, they'll go set up a new email account, you know, and set up a new eBay account. And hey, you know, they banned me, but I'm back on here. So eBay will kind of, you know, eBay is pretty sophisticated with this. So if you use the same physical address, if you use the same bank account, the same debit card, if you use any of the same information, eBay can match those accounts together. Well, eBay goes a lot deeper than this. Not only can eBay look into the IP address, and here's what I've heard. If any of you guys are like IT people or like computer security people, clarify if this is correct or not. But what I've also heard and kind of found through my research is eBay can also go as far as your computer BIOS. So when I log into my laptop, you know, and I log into my personal account, and then I can create like a guest account, or I could create an account for another family member, my roommate. eBay can actually tell which account on a specific computer has been accessed, or can match up accounts. So one thing I've heard about stealth accounts is like, if you are going to create a stealth account, like it's not good enough to get a new IP address, new physical address, new, like you actually have to create a guest account on your computer, or maybe even get a whole new laptop. I'm not sure exactly how BIOSes work. So somebody clarify me if I'm correct or incorrect, if that can actually be tracked. But that's kind of how deep eBay goes. And like I said, the reason is so that people can't just constantly get suspended and keep opening up accounts. However, as with most things with big companies like eBay and Amazon, and when processes are automated, a lot of good people wind up kind of getting caught in the crossfire. So Where this is kind of dangerous, or where you could be suspended for something that has nothing to do with you through no fault of your own, is in any number of the ways that I explained to you. You know, you move into an apartment, you start up your eBay business, and the previous resident was an eBay seller, and their account fell below standard, or they got suspended. Your account has now been linked to them, and eBay is going to shut down your account, and then it's kind of a coin flip when you call them up if you're able to kind of plead your case and get that account reopened and reactivated for yourself. So in my case, like I said, I got this email, rolling over a dead animal. I got this email, called up eBay. I got like the call center in like India. So initially I was like, oh man, I hope this is going to get resolved. To eBay's credit, they were actually very helpful. The issue got resolved. I was probably on the phone less than 30 or 40 minutes, which is a frustration, but at least it was dealt with pretty quickly. And when I got off the phone, everything had been resolved. My selling privileges weren't immediately reactivated, but he said within the next 24 hours they should be on. Might take a couple of days, but the situation was resolved fairly quickly. So I will give eBay some props, some credit for that. So anyhow, I called up. The guy tells me, oh well, yes, this account is linked to other accounts. One of the accounts has fallen below standard. And at first, like, I kind of did have to press to get anything done about it. I was kind of like, well, it's not really fair that my account's being suspended for something that somebody else did. And he was like, well, your account's linked to them. So I don't know if they're supposed to do this or not. Normally, eBay and Amazon tend to kind of keep things under wraps. But I was like, look, can you tell me what accounts are linked to mine? And the guy started going down the list, and he would tell me a name, an email, and an eBay username, and he would basically ask me if I knew them. And one of the people was Gloria, a woman I used to work with back in maybe 2014, so 15, 16, 17, so like my eBay account was linked to somebody I worked with 4 or 5 years earlier. And I remember one time she asked me for help buying something on eBay. I think she wanted to buy a phone case or buy something for her daughter, and so I helped her log on to eBay and figure out how to buy something from our work computer, and it just so happened that I would also access eBay from that work computer. So that's how our accounts got linked. I think my mom's eBay account got linked to me. My sister's eBay account got linked to me. One of my buddies at one time wanted to start selling on eBay, so I had him come over to my house, and I kind of showed him like how to do an eBay listing, how things worked. I helped him set up with his account. Our accounts got linked. And so he went down the list. I mean, there were more than a dozen accounts linked to me, and only one of the accounts had fallen below standard or actually had a problem, and so that's what actually caused the problem with my account. But I kind of went one by one down the line with him and said, look, can we clear this up? And so he says we have to unlink the accounts. So basically, one by one, he would go through and he would ask me questions about like how I knew the person, how long it'd been since I'd had contact with them, all this different stuff. And kind of based on those answers, he'd be like, okay, we can unlink that one. Now, one of the kind of the scary things about this, or where this could go wrong, is one of the accounts was somebody I haven't talked to in about a year. And so I was like, look, man, I don't have any contact with this person. Like, I'm not going to call them up and be like, will you get your eBay account back in good standing? I'm like, this isn't my account. I have nothing to do with this account. And so then he started asking me like, oh, well, when's the last time you talked to this person? What was your relationship with them? And eventually, I guess kind of the deciding factor in why that problem account was able to be unlinked is because he said, well, their account fell into bad standing after you had kind of cut ties with them. So I don't know what would have happened if it was somebody that I still talk to this day, and they're eBay, like, it almost seemed like he wanted me to call up, these people whose accounts were linked to mine and be like, hey, buddy, you really need to get your eBay account back in good standing. It's causing problems. That's not my responsibility to do. But so that's what a linked eBay account is. That's why my account was suspended. I haven't actually tried to log back in and make sure everything's good to go. I haven't really had a reason to, but maybe I'll check that tonight, and if there is any issues, I'll update you guys in the comments. Hey, what's happening, guys? Just got my Dunkin' Donuts. I actually got to run to the gas station. That just occurred to me, so I'm gonna try to wrap the video up here. But I've kind of explained everything about linked accounts. Let's lastly touch on kind of like how can you? Oh shit, I gotta get gas too. How can you prevent this from happening to you? There's a couple situations where just by some fluke you may not be able to control it. I think probably the most obvious is if you move into a new place, whether it be an apartment, a house, and the previous resident had been an eBay seller and had problems with their eBay account, there's really nothing you can do to avoid that. There's no way you can know about it. So that's, I think, one of the few situations where this could happen and be completely outside of your control. However, outside of that, most of these links are going to happen from either people accessing their eBay accounts from your house or your IP address or your phone, or you accessing your eBay account from their home, IP address, computer, etc. So the best thing I can tell you is just, never log into your eBay account from somebody else's house. If you have the eBay app on your phone, don't log on to other people's Wi-Fi. Just use your own data connection, because that way you have your own IP address. As soon as you go onto somebody else's Wi-Fi, now you're using their IP address. Don't log on to your eBay account from public spaces like libraries, coffee shops, your school, etc. And then also, don't let people log onto their eBay accounts from your house. So, I know it's kind of common if you're an eBay seller into e-commerce, anything technology related. A lot of times people who aren't that savvy with that stuff will want your help and like, hey, could I come over and will you help me set up an eBay account, or will you help me list this item on eBay? Answer to that should always be no. Even if they're using their own account, just the fact that they came over to your house and logged in from your computer, your IP address, is enough to cause problems with your account. So, keep these factors in mind that cause accounts to be linked, and don't allow your account to be linked with other people's accounts. That's really all there is. Wanted to share this kind of story with you guys as kind of a cautionary thing. Let me know if any of you guys have ever run into this, or if you have any questions about it. I'd be happy to answer in the comments. And I got to get some gas and stopping at the gas station here real quick. So I will catch you guys on the next video. If you enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll catch you on the next one.